Politics isn't inherently evil, but it manifests itself through political ideology. A super easy example to understand how this works is morally, we should all be able to agree that murder is bad. But look how people reacted when Charlie Kirk was killed. People celebrated it and cheered for his death. And what really drives this point home is that these people who were cheering and celebrating his death, they wholeheartedly think they are the good guys. They think they are morally correct. But before we get into that, I'm going to be giving away $50 in this video and every video going forward to a random commenter who is subscribed and liked the video. So like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below to enter for your chance to win the $50 giveaway. Now back to the video. So the people celebrating this assassination and encouraging more political violence, they think in their hearts that it is not only morally justified, but morally good. The logic is as follows. Anyone who thinks differently from me is a fascist and a Nazi. Charlie Kirk thinks differently from me. Therefore, Charlie Kirk is a fascist and a Nazi. And then they apply this to all right-wingers. Anybody who is more politically right than they are is a fascist and a Nazi. And herein lies the problem. Because once you understand this, you understand that the final point of their logic is that it is morally justified to kill a fascist and a Nazi. But the problem is how they are defining fascism and Nazism. They label everybody who is politically to the right of them as fascists and Nazis, and that's how they can bend morality to justify killing a normal guy. So this is just one example of many of how political ideology brainwashes people into evil. And it's so important to understand because this is how modern evil works. And this is also the case on the right, by the way. Right-wing ideology also leads down a similar path. We just don't have as violent of an example right now, although I'm sure we will sadly see one at some point in the future. But the main issue is not left versus right, it's ideology itself. And don't get me wrong, left versus right is an issue. It's real, but it's not the issue. And what I mean by that is that two normal people who fall on different sides of the political spectrum, they're able to have a normal conversation about politics without losing their fucking mind. They're still able to find common ground with each other and recognize the humanity amongst one another. However, when you take two ideologues and you put them together, they can't find common ground. They hate each other and they hate what the other person stands for. There is no reasoning with either of them. And I know so many people who have had their families and relationships torn apart and destroyed because of different political ideologies. And think about how fucking stupid that is. Families and relationships crumbling because of different political views? That is not normal and that is wrong. And that is how modern evil manifests itself through ideology. Right? Evil is destroying love. Evil is destroying families, relationships, and it's being done through political ideology. And this happens on both sides, by the way, but I would argue it's more common amongst left-wingers. At least in my experience, far-left ideologues are the least accepting people in the entire world. You differ even slightly from their ideology, and they will cast you out and they will want nothing to do with you. So there is a real issue between left versus right. That is real. But the big issue, the main issue, is ideology as a whole. And once you realize how it works and how morality works, it all starts to make sense. Morality only works properly when you are oriented properly. You can only trust yourself and trust your moral compass if you have love at the top and hate at the bottom. Essentially, your moral compass is only correct and is only trustworthy if you have a heart full of love and you reject hate. Only then can you know what is truly right and what is truly good. So in a sense, you have to worship love, which is God, and demonize and reject hate. And herein lies the problem. We have rejected love and God in favor of ideology. So it's no wonder that we do evil and we think that it is good. We are worshiping ideology instead of love. Our compass is off. It doesn't work properly. So when we think it points north to what is true and good, it is actually pointing south to what is evil. And this is exactly how evil manifests itself through ideology. And this is a bit off topic, but so many modern stories reject the idea of good versus evil in their stories' themes. They have more of a postmodernist take where morality is all gray and these writers think they're so smart. One example I recently thought about is from One Piece, which I love and I have nothing but good things to say about. But there is a scene where they are looking back towards like ancient history, and the guy says something like this: "I don't think we should look back at this war as a war of good versus evil, but as a clash of differing ideologies." He says something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But the more I think about this, it's like, no, that's exactly how evil works. The entire 20th century can be classified as a clash of differing ideologies. That's how good versus evil works. Nobody thinks they are evil. Hitler didn't think he was evil. They are brainwashed and perverted into doing evil. And in that perversion, they do evil and think in their heart that they are doing what is good. So it's a misunderstanding of morality. And that's why I think ideology is so dangerous, because it's the very thing that brainwashes and perverts. So if you get anything out of this video, take this piece of advice. Do everything in your power to try and think for yourself. You will be wrong most of the time. You will have a confusing cohort of ideas that are certainly contradictory. But if you find yourself confused in that position, then you can be one of the very few people who can maybe, just maybe, claim, "I can think for myself." And the evils that manifest itself through ideology can only be defeated by people who can think for themselves and do so with a heart full of love. That is how evil is defeated. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to enter the $50 giveaway. Winner will be chosen in exactly 1 week. Thank you.